Accept every opportunity to go make a little talk if that's going to be your business. Get better at talking to your kids. Come up with more illustrations. Come up with more ideas. Read an extra book, How to Communicate with Teenagers, so you'll have something a little better to say. And then just practice it. Get good at it. Get better at it. Practice everywhere. If you're going to give someone a gift and send a little card, practice making this little card something they'll keep and remember for the rest of their lives. Not ordinary, extraordinary. Not like everyone else, different than everyone else. It's the practice of using your gift of saying things another way until a light turns on, another way that expresses something heartfelt that the standard ordinary language wouldn't express, couldn't reach, couldn't paint these mental pictures. It's okay to give flowers, but don't let flowers do all your talking. Flowers have a limited vocabulary. Guess what flowers say? You remembered. That's about all they say. Flowers don't say, nobody in this world affects me like you do. Love. See, flowers talk, but they don't say that. That you got to put in the little card. Nobody in this world affects me like you do. Love, and then you sign it. And see, long after the flowers are gone, somebody's going to keep the words. The words are more powerful than the flowers. So don't let flowers do all your talking. See if you can't choose the words that are meaningful, words that are unique. And the more you do this, practicing every little occasion to say something well, every little occasion to say something well, whether it's a little talk to the family gathering, or whether it's training, or whether it's inspiring, or a little class on Sunday morning, whatever it is, keep improving, find a new way to say it, a new illustration, a new story. You'll get better. The gift will belong to you, and the effect could be electrifying. When my wife Judy and I parted ways, I wrote this little note. Dear Judy, as often as the night comes, so does my sadness. As constant as the day arrives, so is my love for you. I wish for you and I wish the best for you, and I understand that dilemma. My life is here where you touched me. If ever you would call, I would be there to be touched again. It wasn't very long, it was just a few words, but I tried to express what was going on in my heart and soul at the moment. So I'm asking you, don't fail to say it. Here's an expression we've heard. Words are no substitute for action. That's true. Let me give you another one. Action is no substitute for words. It's okay to do, but you've also got to say. Express it, as clumsy as it might be to start. Start a better program of better communication, saying it better.
Quick story. This gentleman came up to me at my seminar. I said, you know, ladies and gentlemen, what we're talking about today is not rocket science. He came up and he said, you know, I heard that comment about rocket science. He said, I'm in sales. I'm 28 years old. He said, and I'd heard many people say over the years, you know, this is not rocket science. This is not rocket science. I began wondering, you know, what would it take to get a degree in rocket science? So I went back to the college and I said, you know, I'm really interested in rocket science. What would it take? They said, well, you'd have to take these prerequisite courses. You'd have to take this. You'd have to do that. You'd have to take summer courses and so on. But this is the prescribed courses that you'd have to take to get a degree, just like we talked about a little bit earlier in engineering. So he decided that's going to be his project. So he went back to work. He's in sales, just like you and I. He's an entrepreneur. He went back to work in evenings and weekends. Instead of playing golf or watching television, he just studied rocket science. He said, May, I graduated at the university with a degree in rocket science. He said, now when somebody says, you know, this is not rocket science, he said, I know, I got a degree in rocket science. he said, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. Now, here's my point. Anybody in this room, if you wanted to get a degree in rocket science, if you cared about it enough, you could do it. You are smart enough to accomplish virtually anything that you could even imagine you could do in life. Nobody's smarter than you. Nobody's better than you. If they're ahead of you on the road of life, it means two things. Is they got on the road first, and they have proven that you can do the same thing they've done. If somebody is doing well, it's proof that you can do it as well. Now, people say, well, I want to be a billionaire in a year. That is a dumb thing. Why don't you be 100-aire in a year? Why don't you be 1,000-aire in a year? Now, one of the greatest diseases that has afflicted America, like an epidemic that has swept the country psychologically, is quick fix. I want quick fix. I want to take my entire wasted life and turn it around by Monday. I want to be financially independent in a year, and I want to be free from decades of silly things that I've done with my life, and I want to get it all back. That's not how it works. What you do is you begin turning this great ocean liner slowly. It takes 7 years. Now, I've studied mastery, and I've studied it for years. I've studied all these subjects because they're so important to me. All the studies say 10,000 hours in your craft, 7 years. Now, people say, oh, my God, 7 years. I'm 30. I'll be 37 years old. Jeez. Well, how much older will you be in 7 years in any case? The fact is, and please write this on your hand, the fact is the time is going to pass anyway. The time is going to pass anyway. The only question is where you're going to be in 7 years. Are you going to still be lost on the back roads? Are you worried about money? Or are you going to be on the high road and moving ahead faster and faster? Peter Drucker, who's probably the best management theorist in the history of the world, Peter Drucker says no business makes money within 4 years. In the first 4 years. It takes 2 years to break even. The first 2 years, what you do is you mortgage, you hypothecate, you borrow, beg, steal, and lie every penny you possibly can to survive. The second 2 years, you make more than it costs, and you begin to pay off your debts. At the end of 4 years, you start to make a profit. It takes 7 years to make a business success. Now, if that is the rule, people say, I'm going to beat the numbers. No, you're not. You're not going to beat the odds. People say, I'm going to live to be 150. No, you're not. You're not going to beat the odds. You're not going to beat the probabilities. What you do is you say, okay, these are the facts of life, so get on with it. If you want to be at the top of your field, there's nothing can stop you from being one of the highest paid, most successful people in your field if you just get on with it. And don't expect to do it overnight. Is just begin to take the courses, upgrade your skills, add value. The critical quality is optimism. You've got to be an optimist. Thank you very much. God bless you.
The same reason that people stay in relationships where they're abused or they're unhappy or it's unfulfilling, they can't see themselves beyond that relationship. They can't see themselves enjoying life without that person. They think that this is all that they can do. The same reason that people get stuck at a certain level in life, they can't see things being better for them. And they think that this is it and this is all they deserve. This is all they've ever seen. It's been passed on to them. And they think that this is it for them. Look at what Dr. Blanton, Smiley Blanton, who is a colleague of Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, what he said about fear. He said, fear is the most subtle and destructive of all human diseases. Fear, ladies and gentlemen, can hold you back from doing something that you know within yourself that you're capable of doing, but it will paralyze you. And it seemed like you're in a hypnotic spell.
Imagine if you weren't afraid of anything in the whole world, what a difference it would make. Imagine if you were guaranteed a success in anything. If somebody waved a magic wand and said, whatever you do from now on, you'll be successful. And you went out here and you could do anything, call on anybody, go anywhere, start anything, try anything, and you'd be successful. We don't realize how much of a role fear plays in our life until we think what we would do if we didn't have any. And B is the fear of rejection. Fear of rejection is the second big fear, and it's learned when children are told, you better or else. If you don't, you're going to be in big trouble. Now you're in trouble, and parents withdraw their love and affection from the child and express disapproval and anger for what the child does. And the child wants to get along and wants to be loved and needs love more than anything else. So children learn at a very early age, if you want to get along, you better go along. So they eventually stop doing what their parents disapprove of, and they start saying, I have to. I have to do what mommy wants. I have to do what daddy wants. I have to do what they approve of, or they won't love me. And then we become adults, and this goes unconscious. and it's programmed into our subconscious mind, and many adults become hypersensitive. They're hypersensitive to the opinions of others. They're hypersensitive to the criticism of others. I have to do this. I have to do that. If I don't do this, he won't like me. She won't like me. They won't like me. They'll disapprove of me. So therefore, we become hypersensitive. We have this fear of rejection, which is a fear of criticism. It's a fear of ridicule. It's a fear of disapproval. And we find that all successful people have to overcome these fears of failure and these fears of criticism, these fears of disapproval, in order to move ahead in their lives. So what is the counter to the words I have to? It is, I don't have to. I don't have to. I can do anything I want to do, and I don't have to do anything I don't have to do.